Hello, Ron Bashar here. GGG has revealed some additional information about Dawn of the Hunt, patch 0.2, and they have given, shed some light on some burning question I had in my mind about the seasonal mechanic. Well, the gist of it is there isn't going to be any. Let's just go over it. When does Dawn of the Hunt launch? It is going to go live at April the 4th, 12 p.m. PDT. That would mean 9 p.m. CET for for Europe, and I guess you can just calculate what's it's gonna be. For me, it's gonna be 10 p.m. right, Turkish Standard Time. Will there be an economy reset? Obviously, guys, the two characters, right? You can see the login screen here: Standard or Dawn of the Hunt. Standard and Dawn of the Hunt will not be able to interact with each other in any way. So Dawn of the Hunt characters will be able to trade within themselves, and Standard within themselves. So there will be sort of like 4 leagues. I don't count the solo self-found one in because they can't trade anyway. So there will be Standard Hardcore, Dawn of the Hunt, and Dawn of the Hunt Hardcore, right? These 4 will be absolutely blind to each other, right? You will not be able to play with them, you will not be able to trade with them, and so on. So how do I start with a league with fresh economy? Yeah, you just select the Dawn of the Hunt banner, so your character will be a Dawn of the Hunt character. Will anything be wiped? No, right? We did talk about this. Nothing is going to get wiped. So everything that you have will stay. Do I need to create a new character? No, right? You can't just stay on standard. Yeah, so this is the burning question I had in mind. Is there a special in-game mechanic that is available only in Dawn of the Hunt leagues and not in the special core game? No, there is nothing. So Dawn of the Hunt is the same thing as standard. So, which brings the important question to mind: why the hell should I, right? So, for example, guys, you have some divines, you have leveled characters, and yeah, I am finding a hard time to provide any pros, right? The only pro would be for starting a new would be the economy would be somewhat better, because the thing is, at the beginning of this one, there was word out there that there was some duping that went on, and also there were some abuses that went on. People were abusing chaos orbs, etc. You have, let's say, a very good item with 5 good modifiers, right, and you chaos it, right, hoping to remove the bad one and get a new good one. And normally, guys, when you remove one of the good ones, the item is just destroyed. Well, the thing is, you could start a map and crash the map intentionally somehow, and the item would roll back. So, you would be able to get whatever you wanted. That's why we have so many extremely good items out there. I mean, they made them much, much easier to get. So we would be getting, and there was some stuff about Temporalis. Temporalis is only achieved normally by taking no damage and using a very special and extremely expensive relic in the Trial of Sekimas thingy. But at the beginning there was some sort of weird abuse which allowed you to not reset your Trial of Sekimas and keep killing Zarok over and over, right? So that flooded the market with Temporalis. And you might say, Temporalis is worth hundreds of divines. How does that figure? Yeah, imagine the actual intended rarity for Temporalis, right? That is how it's, several hundred divines. It probably is meant to be worth thousands of divines, yeah. So it's actually an item that's extremely, extremely, extremely rare, because the relic is extremely rare, and you take 1 damage, right? Unless you have a special character, it just goes away, right? Anyway, so guys, the only thing that we are gonna get out of playing Dawn of the Hunt characters is a fresh economy, no dupes, no Temporalis flood. I'm also guessing a lot of players will go for Dawn of the Hunt, but I think they should have given us a little bit of incentive. So guys, a little bit of incentive, right? Some seasonal mechanic, be it very small, be it very, negligible, I still wouldn't have hesitated to start a season with a Dawn of the Hunt character, right? Right now I am, because, I have a few mirrors, I have lots of divines, right? And I can do whatever I want, and all of a sudden I will have nothing. Yeah. There is that. So, I leave it to your judgment. I still think, me personally, I think I will. Sorry, the mic was a little bit away. Let me pull it here. I still think I will be starting a new, right, from a fresh league. But of course, as I said, I would have been much happier if they included something in the season. But they at least said future leagues will usually add exclusive content. Here's hoping. And there is no season journey like Diablo or anything, so there is literally nothing in it for you, right? I mean, you will have a more stable economy, and that means also the items will be much more expensive, and that would be it. And here's hoping a majority of the players will still play the thing. So anything that you purchased from with money, right? The microtransactions, your premium stash tabs, etc. They will all also exist in the future league, the new league as well, right? So you have a Delirium tab, you have a Unique tab, you have a Currents tab. They will all exist both in Standard and Dawn of the Hunt. Is it a paid expansion? No. They will allow us to download it one day before the patch. Says only PC though. I'm not very sure what happens for console players. That's what they said. This week we will publish the full patch notes. Information about item filters. There is some stuff that they didn't implement in the API about the filters, guys. So there is some stuff that the filter cannot distinguish between. It would be a nice thing if they did that. So for example, guys, I haven't been able to find a way to not pick up a certain base normally, but if it drops on a higher tier, I would like to pick that up. Nope, that doesn't exist. You can't do that, right? I mean, you can't say I don't want to see expert face masks, but if I get a tier 2 or tier 3 or whatever it is, expert face mask is rare or magic to drop, I want to pick that up. You can't do that, right? You either should block all expert face masks, or you should see all expert face masks. It's a little bit like a tongue twister. It's a little hard to say. Will you reveal all new support champs? They said more than 100. They probably won't do that. Okay. Path of Exile 1 microtransactions, no new blah blah blah. This is not important, right? The important thing is this: no new mechanic. So guys, so for example, your standard character, right, and your Dawn of the Hunt character will be playing exactly the same game. You just will have access to your currency and your characters in the standard. So I'm not promoting standard, but I'm a little bit disappointed, right? You might recall in the during the live stream and in my afterthoughts video, I kept asking the question, what would be a seasonal mechanic, right? Because I couldn't just comprehend. There is nothing for the season. Well, that is it, right? There is nothing for the season, nothing new. So yeah, I mean, and there is something else that they talked about. About the portals, they reduced the number of portals to 1, and they wouldn't. So they did something with the portals, right? We have it in the other video if you wanna take a look. So for earlier map tiers, if you die, you can go back in. But the problem is, for later maps, to give the same vibe, they reduced the number of portals to 1. But that brings a different limitation. For example, guys, you are in the middle of the map, right? You get a nice trade offer that you wanna do. Can't leave. You have 1 portal and you use it up, right? Can't get back in the map. You either have to ask the guy to wait while you finish your map, or you will have to sacrifice the rest of your map, right? and we know how good it goes for trading when you ask people to wait. You are going to miss your trade. So they were able to catch up on that before the patch went live, thankfully. What they will be doing is that portal is going to be equivalent to your revive rights, right? So that portal will not be spent when you leave and enter the map, right? It will only spent when you die. So for example, guys, you are doing a tier 15 map with 6 modifiers, right? You go in, right? You get the trade offer, you leave, you do your trade, you go back in, you loot, you get full, you leave, you dump your stuff in the stash, you go back in, blah, 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 right? Infinite portals, right? The portal will only be spent when you die. That's what they are doing. So they will also be implementing something else, but they are not sure if that makes it to the patch. When you die, instead of getting teleported to your hideout and having to re-enter the map, you will just respawn at your last checkpoint without any loading screen. That's very nice, because there is a bit of a problem with the loading screens, as you know, right? They are a tad little bit too long. Yeah, I like this. So we will get the as many tries as you like without dying upon launch, but the reviving at the last checkpoint, if you have revive rights, might not make it to the patch. Well, I mean, it's a good thing that it exists. I mean, if it doesn't make it to the patch, it's no big deal. I think this is a nice thing. I'm just, as I said, disappointed about not having any seasonal mechanics. But of course, it will be a brand new game, right? Almost brand new game. We will be getting tons and tons of changes. It just is a little bit weird that, my level 97 autobomber is able to, get into it immediately, and I will have to, start afresh. Yeah, we'll have to see. So that's about it, guys. I wanted to, clarify that as soon as I saw that, because I was on the lookout for this, right? Seasonal mechanic, and there is none. So, it's a bit of a decision, if you don't want the fresh economy, because that's the only thing that you're going to get out of fresh reset. So you can say, okay, I do have my currencies, I do have my characters, I'll just stick to standard. So because of this, I'm expecting the standard league distribution to be a little bit more balanced, because normally, guys, everyone goes to the new season and standard is somewhat discarded. Only few players will remain, right, normally, but this time around there is no new special mechanic, and people might not bother with the campaign again. People might not want to bother with grinding the currency again. People might want to stay at this somewhat broken economy that we have here, because, guys, for example, with the new patch, if they have fixed everything, obtaining a temporary list would be nigh impossible, right? Right now it's like 200 divine. It's still expensive, but perfectly obtainable. There are all those mirrored items out there that are insane, literal perfect, almost literal perfect. So people might want to stick here. We'll see. I still think, of course, a majority of players will be playing the season, but I'm gonna make these numbers up. But if it was 90% season and 10% standard, normally, I would say it's gonna be like 70-30 maybe. I am, as I said, making these numbers up. But what I mean is, more people will stay behind and play standard than normal, because there is just nothing in rerolling, right? More stable economy, fresh reset. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even 100% sure, right? Because there is so little, right? There is no carrot on a stick. There is the stick, but there is no carrot, right? So I probably will start fresh, but yeah, I mean, I still am of the opinion that they should have given us a little bit of something, right? A map that drops is a few unique stats are special to the season. There is nothing, right? Anyway, that's it. I'm ranting and rambling. I will see you in the next video and in the new season. Bye bye.